catching fire with everyone. Indian fever. You can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game. That's where the excitement begins. So catch Indian fever. Be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the November 5th, 2018 Lake County Sentinel Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Shirer, and tonight we have a lot of things to talk about. Tonight. A lot of things in sports and a lot of things in politics. It's the night before the election. But we're going to start with sports first. we have the Cavs announcing tonight that they signed Larry Drew to a contract. So he's no longer the interim coach of the Cavaliers. He is their coach. And from what I understand, his contract runs through the end of this season. And then there's an option that can be picked up for the 2019-2020 season. And so now he'll be happy because he has the interim tag taken off his label and his title, and that's a good thing. I mean, he's a proven coach. I mean, he coached for 3 seasons in Atlanta. You know, he led the Hawks to 3 playoff appearances. You know, then he coached in Milwaukee for 1 year, but Milwaukee had absolutely no talent when he was with the Bucks. So, of course, they had a bad season. I mean, when your team does not have talent, you probably are going to have a bad season. And that's what happened with him in Milwaukee. I think the Cavs are in good hands with Larry Drew. You know, they did well with him last year when he filled in for Ty Lue when Ty Lue was sick. So this is, I think, a good thing. They're in action starting in about 7 minutes tonight. They'll be playing the Orlando Magic in Orlando. The Magic is not exactly a powerhouse team. They played last night, and I believe they lost to the Spurs last night. So they're not exactly at the top of the NBA ladder. Actually, they're not very good either. You know, the Cavs do have the worst record in the NBA at 1-7. But I think that, you know, this is a game tonight that they have a chance of winning. They could win this game. And, you know, not their second win of the year. It would be they would be, you know, they'd be 2-1 under Larry Drew then. So, you know, not that they're going to go and win the division, because that's not going to happen. But the good thing is that they'll play the way Larry Drew wants them to play, and they'll get into the game plan that he wants them to, you know, play. And I think that they'll become a better team. Orlando's 3-6, so they're really not that much better than the Cavaliers. And hopefully, you know, the Cavs maybe the Cavs can get a win tonight. We got a lot to talk about in sports tonight. I mean, it's just got a lot of things. And the Major League Baseball writers have announced their finalists for MVP, and I think that the Indians are represented very well. Of course, you know, Cleveland fans will complain that they weren't represented enough, or they would have been represented more if the Dolans weren't so cheap. But I think they were represented very well. Most Valuable Player Award finalists in the American League are Mookie Betts for the Red Sox, Jose Ramirez for the Indians, and Mike Trout of the California Angels. Who would I like to see win? Mike Trout. I think he probably deserves it, but I don't think Jose Ramirez deserves it. I mean, he had a bad last month. For me, you have to be good all year. Okay? You have to be good all year. And he was not. He slumped badly from the middle of August on. So I can't vote for Jose Ramirez if I had a vote, which I don't. And Mookie Betts, I think he's overrated. He's good, but I think he's overrated. Then we have National League MVP, Nolan Arenado, Javier Baez, and Christian Yelich. I mean, for me, it's not even a question. It's Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich was unbelievable this year. Hit for the cycle twice. Who does that? There's guys in the Hall of Fame that never hit for the cycle once in their career. Christian Yelich did it twice in one season. Okay? And he just had a great year. For a team that they got mentioned a lot this year. They got publicity this year, but he still didn't get the notice that he would get if he played in one of the big markets. So I think Christian Yelich should get MVP. And then we have Cy Young in the American League. The finalists are Corey Kluber, Blake Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays, and then Justin Verlander of the Houston Astros. I believe this should go to Blake Snell. Snell had an unbelievable year for the Rays. He's a young pitcher, and he finally put it all together this year. He's 25. So really, he's young. He's 25. A lot of pitchers don't get it till they're 27, 28, 29. He's 25. Okay, he went 21-5 this year with a 1.89 ERA. Struck out 221 batters in 180 innings and had a 0.97 whip, which, for those of you that don't know, whip is walks, hits per inning. In my opinion, he's the best. He was the best pitcher in the American League this year. Corey Kluber, I think he's third in this, actually. I think Verlander had a great year. Verlander's older, and he's just good again. Great again. I don't want to say good. Verlander, excuse me. As much as, I didn't like Verlander in Detroit because, he was on the Tigers. He was against, he was in our division. You can't. What can you say about this guy? He's older. He's in his this season. He was in his age 35 season. Okay, as they like to say now. They don't like to say he was 35. They like to say age 35 season. These people. Okay, but he was 35 this year, and he went 16-9 with a 2.52 ERA in 34 games, 214 innings. He struck out 290 batters. He had 35. 290 batters in 214 innings and a 0.90 whip. Come on. I mean, that's really good. I mean, I think Snell's was a little better, but because he played for a bad team and he won 21 games. Not a bad team, but they weren't as good as the Astros. So, of course, a lot of people will tell you wins don't matter. And for me, Kluber's not even a factor in this. I don't even think that he should be considered in this. Okay. And then we have National League Cy Young. And, we got Jason DeGrom of the Mets, Aaron Nola from the Phillies, who's a really good young pitcher. Another, the Phillies are in good shape. I'm telling you, they are. And then Max Scherzer, who seems to win it every year. And I love Max Scherzer. Love how he competes. And he competed in the All-Star game like he was pitching for his life. I love that. But I've got it. Yeah, I mean, as much as I don't like teams from New York and Boston. You can't hold that against Jacob deGrom. My gosh, what a season this guy had. And this is where you can't, wins and losses can't. But he was over 500, believe it or not, for that horrible Mets club. Okay. He was 10-9 with a 1.70 ERA, 217 innings, 269 strikeouts, and a 0.91 whip. Cy Young, right there. I mean, that's it. I don't think there's even a debate. There shouldn't be a debate. It's Jacob deGrom in the National League. The guy is just, he's really good. Of course, he's got one of the best pitching minds as his manager now, which I think really, I think that's a really good, a good thing for those young pitchers in New York. And the ones that will not succeed with Mickey Callaway as their manager, the pitchers that do not succeed and improve, those are guys that never will. If you can't improve with Mickey Callaway as your pitching coach or your manager, well, you're probably not going to go that far. Or you're not going to get any better because he's going to make you better. So then we got American League Manager of the Year. This is a tough one. Kevin Cash, Tampa Bay Rays. Alex Cora, Red Sox. They won the World Series. They won the most games in baseball during the regular season. And Bob Melvin. I mean, Cash and Melvin, their teams, geez, they weren't expected to be, the Rays were probably expected to be in last. I mean, Baltimore, ended that right away, being horrible. But, the A's and Rays were not expected to win maybe more than 70 games this year. And they both did a lot better than that. The A's made the wild card game. Okay. And the Rays came in third place, in the American League East. So, where they weren't even expected to do that. So, this is tough. Do you just give it to the guy who wins the most games? No, that's not always the case. I think you give it to a guy that his team did something they weren't expected to. It's tough because the Athletics made the playoffs. And Kevin Cash did something with a pitching staff that no one had ever done in the history of baseball, using an opener. And it worked pretty well. I'm going to have to go with Kevin Cash. I'm just going to have to go with Kevin Cash. I think Kevin Cash should win Manager of the Year. I could be wrong. People might disagree with me on that. People disagree with me all the time anyway, so what's it matter? Doesn't really matter. Excuse me. I think then, but I think it's Cash. Then we go to the National League. There's another tough one. It's really another tough. This one might even be tougher than the American League. Okay? Because you got three guys. I mean, the Brewers were expected to be pretty good. They were. They were expected to contend. But the Rockies, no, they weren't. The Braves, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And they won their division. Did they win their division because the Phillies fell apart and the Mets were not as good as they were supposed to be, and the Washington Nationals just decided not to show up this year? Yeah, okay, but they still won the division when they were not even expected to. Council did a great job with that team handling the not great starting pitching, but handling the bullpen to perfection. And using his hitting, making key decisions with pinch hitting and stuff. Like, he just was really good at that. And in Cleveland, Craig Counsell is a bad memory because he scored the winning run in the 97 World Series. But, and Bud Black, former Indian, San Diego Padres manager, where he really wasn't given anything to work with, and they fired him, and they still stink, and he's gotten the Rockies to the postseason. So, One of these three has to be left out, and this is a tough one. I'm going with, well, I think I'm going to have to go with Craig Counsell. I'm going to go with Craig Counsell. He's probably the easy, safe pick because they made the postseason. Well, the Braves made the postseason too, but I'm going to go with. No, I'm going to change that. I'm going to go with Brian Snitker. I'm going with Brian Snitker. Brian Snitker's going to win it. Yeah. So, American Managers of the Year, Kevin Cash, and Brian Snitker. Those my Managers of the Year. And then we got. Then we go to Rookie of the Year. American League Rookie of the Year. Well, I really don't understand why Joey Wendell is not in the final three. It's ridiculous. It's probably because he plays for the Tampa Bay Rays. But, of course, you have to have two Yankees in there. I'm going with Shohei Ohtani. I'm not even mentioning the two Yankees. I'm sorry, but I'm not. If they were on the Yankees, it wouldn't even be considered. So, Shohei Ohtani, I think, will win it in the American League. And then I think the two Yankees will cancel each other out. Nationally, we got Ronald Acuna Jr., Walker Buehler, and Juan Soto of the Nationals. I'm going to go with Ronald Acuna Jr. I think he had it won early in the year, and I think he's going to win it. Buehler, I don't know. He was really good the second half of the year, but he wasn't good early. And Soto, he didn't come up. He wasn't up early, so I have to go with Acuna because he did it all year. But so that's pretty much it with the Rookie of the Year or with the awards. We'll see. We'll see next week. They'll announce one award each day, beginning on Monday, and then we'll find out. And hopefully no Yankees win it. It'd be nice if no Yankees or no Red Sox won, but I have a feeling that Mookie Betts is going to win, even though I think he should not win. I think it should go to Mike Trout. So those are my predictions on the baseball postseason awards. Now we move on to the Browns and Chiefs. Well, I think the Browns, did what was pretty much expected yesterday. I mean, the Chiefs are really good. They're good. I mean, what can you say? You got the Browns fans complaining about injuries now. It's injuries. And are the reason that they're, the reason they're losing. No, I don't think so. They're losing because they're not that good. They're not that good. Okay? So stop complaining about losing. I mean, it's the same old Browns fans. Same old Browns fans. There's always something to whine about and something to blame. It's not that they're bad. Browns fans don't same old Browns fans. Yes. Injuries. Well, you know what? Every team in football has injuries, so stop. And play the games. Just play the games. My God, do you think you're the only team in the NFL that has injuries? You're not. So, next week they get the privilege of being smacked around by Atlanta, which they will. Atlanta will smack them around. And here we go. So that'll be next for the Browns. And it's funny that, people are not complaining about anything today. Same problems happened yesterday. A lot of the same problems happened yesterday with Greg Williams as coach. But nobody's complaining. But they complained about those same things when Hugh Jackson was the head coach. So they got their wish. Hugh Jackson got fired, and they still lost. So they're 2-6-1 now. They were 2-2-1. Remember, 2-2-1 playoffs. Well, Reality check, people. No playoffs. No playoffs. 2-6-1. Cleveland Browns. That's enough of them. Now we'll move to the Mentor Icebreakers, the local Lake County minor league hockey team that plays in the Franklin Hockey Association. They are 0-3. They have one home game. They played one home game and lost, and they played 2 on the road. And now they play Friday against the Watertown at Mentor Ice Arena at 7 o'clock. I believe it's 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock at Mentor Ice Arena. And, they've struggled. We're not going to, you can't really sugarcoat it, but they're a new team. And this is, they played 3 games. 3 games as a franchise. Very few franchises are good when they first come, play their first season. Even the Las Vegas Golden Knights that doesn't happen. Okay. So they're 0-3. They've scored 5 goals in 3 games. They've allowed 17. Okay. So, their opening game, they lost 4-1, and then they lost Friday night 6-2, and then they lost by 5 goals on Saturday night 7-2. So, it's been rough for them, but hopefully, as they play together more, their defense will improve, and they will, they will be able to win some games and make bring some winning to the people of Mentor, and that'd be a good thing. Nice winter sport, hockey, that'd be really good, and I think they'll get better. I don't know how much better. I'm not a hockey expert, but I think it's just they'll get better because it's not easy to start a franchise. I don't care what league you're in. It's not hard when you're the new guy. Excuse me, the new team. You struggle early, and that's just how it is. So I think that it'll be an interesting winter. I'm hoping to attend a game soon. But I haven't been able to get out there yet. I don't know if it'll be possible this Friday. We'll see. But hopefully soon. I definitely want to have the Sentinel cover the team. It's a Lake County team, and we should cover it. That's it. We've covered other Lake County minor league teams, so we should definitely cover the Mentor Icebreakers. But let's move on now to the Cleveland Monsters, who are 7-4-1 and in second place in their division. They have 15 points. Their next game will be Wednesday at Quicken Loans Arena against the Rochester Americans, who are in first place with 17 points. So if the Monsters were able to beat the Americans on Wednesday night, actually, I believe they are in Rochester on Wednesday night. Yes, they are in Rochester on Wednesday night against the Americans. But if they were to win, if they were to beat the Americans on Wednesday, then they would be tied for first place in the division. That should be an exciting game, and hopefully the Monsters can come out on top. I mean, it's only been 2 years since they won the championship. They won the championship. I mean, They won, and then what? Was it a week later? 2 weeks later, the Cavs won. I mean, that was pretty good. That was a pretty good time in Cleveland. The monsters broke it, the drought, and then the Cavs followed it up. So let's not forget what the two teams have done. What they've done. See, the Cavs are down by 1 point to the Magic with 18-17 with 3:33 left in the first quarter, which is nice. Hopefully they can, stay in the game and maybe win tonight. It would be good. This is a team they should be able to compete with. But back to the Monsters. Their next home games are Friday and Saturday night at 7 against the Laval Rockets. The Laval Rockets. I believe they are the Montreal Canadiens affiliate. They're new this year, and that's who the Monsters will play on Friday and Saturday this week. It'll be their first trip to town. A new division this year too. The Monsters in a new division. They're playing some teams they haven't played before, or they haven't played that much. So we'll see more now, and that's really exciting. I mean, I talked to the former assistant equipment manager, Phil Simon, his son, Jeff. I talked to him a few weeks ago, and he said that, it was exciting that they're going to play some new teams this year that they haven't seen. That's exciting. And I know it is. I know, covering minor league baseball, when the team I cover switched leagues 8 years ago, it was interesting to get to see new teams come in. You kind of got, tired of seeing the same teams over and over again. So it's nice when you maybe switch divisions or switch a league and you have a chance to see some different teams come in. And hopefully, they can compete well in this division. I've been told, by people who know about hockey, that they should be really good this year and they should have a chance to compete and to win. So I'm hoping they can. I mean, it was a very exciting time in 2016 when they won the Calder Cup, and minor league hockey's pretty big in Cleveland. It's pretty big. I mean, that not only the Monsters, that first Icebreakers game, that drew 1,200 fans to the Menor Ice Arena that night. That's a really good crowd for basically an independent hockey team. Their first game. That's a good crowd. So, hockey is good in Cleveland, and if the teams are good, they're going to draw. So let's hope the Monsters can beat the Americans, the Rochester Americans, on Wednesday, and then come home and sweep the Laval Rockets. I'm probably saying that wrong. On Friday and Saturday. Not only get first place, but take it. Take control of it. Come on, Monsters, you can do it. So that'll be the end of the sports portion of the show tonight. We'll be right back in a minute, and we will talk some politics. We have many things to discuss tonight. The night before an election. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second half hour of the Lake County Sentinel Podcast. This is Tim Shirer, and now we're going to get to the government or the political portion of our broadcast tonight. One endorsement I want to say right off the bat, so I don't forget it. I feel that it's not a candidate, but it's a very important issue. Issue 3 in Lake County. It's to keep Lakeland Community College up to date and have it ready for the future. Lakeland Community College is an asset to Lake County, and we are so lucky to have it. So I feel like if there's one thing you should vote for tomorrow, levy-wise, it's issue 3 to keep, to keep Lakeland Community College going and going in a positive way. It's a really good thing, and I think that that's one of the things that people need to vote for. And education is very important. I think we're in a time in our country where the people who are in control right now don't seem to value public education and affordable education very much. So Lakeland is very important. Community colleges are very important. And so I think that we need to vote for that. And hopefully it passes. And Lakeland can continue the great work that it does there, because it does do great work. It does. It's great work is done at Lakeland. People that can't afford college right away out of high school get to go to Lakeland, and then they can continue their education after that. So I think it's a very good place and worthy of a vote. So I wanted to get that one out of the way because I didn't want to forget. Next, I want to talk about the Pete Davidson skit on Saturday Night Live on Saturday night. Pete Davidson is a very, very funny young comedian. He's got a bright future ahead of him. He leans Democrat. I mean, he makes no bones about that. He voted for Hillary Clinton, or he supported Hillary Clinton, and he actually has a Hillary Clinton tattoo either on his leg or arm. I can't remember. It might be on his arm. So he really, he's a Democrat. There's no doubt about it, and that's fine. You could be a Democrat or a Republican. That's fine. But when you cross the line and you insult a veteran, I don't care if you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat, you've crossed the line when you insult a veteran who was injured in combat. Okay? Injured in action. Maybe it wasn't combat, but he was injured in action. And I think it's just, he was a candidate who was running for Congress, and Pete Davidson was trying to be funny and give, I don't know, his endorsement of candidates, or I guess that's what it was. He's giving like fake endorsements of candidates, and it was bad. He insulted Dan Crenshaw, the Republican candidate from Texas, candidate for the Congress, U.S. House, from Texas, Dan Crenshaw. Crenshaw lost his eye in Afghanistan, and he mocked him on Saturday Night Live. Look, like I said, I think Pete Davidson has a bright future. There's no place for this. And especially I have to sit here. If I'm going to say and comment on all the horrible things that Trump supporters say on a daily basis about people and how they've insulted handicapped people and how he insulted John McCain, Trump, I have to condemn Pete Davidson. I have to condemn Pete Davidson. I would be a complete and total hypocrite if I didn't condemn Pete Davidson. And I'm telling you, if you're a liberal Democrat and you don't condemn Pete Davidson, you don't come out and say you thought he was wrong, well, then you're no better than a Trump supporter. You're just not. I'm sorry, you're not. And I know some liberal people that I really, really respect disagree with me on this, but it's true. It's true. If we believe in you don't insult handicapped people, you have to condemn Pete Davidson. I feel like Pete Davidson knew it when he said it, but he laughed. He laughed. And that's really bad. I mean, the worst part about this is Pete Davidson lost his dad in 9/11 when he was 7 years old. His dad was a fireman who entered the Twin Towers. You would think that this kind of thing wouldn't come out of his mouth. So it really, it makes me sad that he did this because I really liked him. He was probably my, I watch Saturday Night Live pretty regularly. He was probably one of my favorite people on there, until this. And then, this happened, and Kenan Thompson, who's also unbelievable on Saturday Night Live. His dad was a Vietnam vet. He said that he was wrong, so I'm glad that somebody on the show had enough guts to come out and say that he was wrong. So hopefully, I don't know if he'll issue an apology. I think that he probably won't. But, I think he should because it was wrong. You just don't say what he said, and I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it, if you ask me. I mean, we've condemned Trump for 3 years, during the campaign too, for saying these horrible things that he says, and they're dead wrong, the things he says. I mean, they're really, really wrong. So if those are really, really wrong, what Pete Davidson did the other night was really, really wrong too. You can't have it both ways. I've been saying that to Trump supporters. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Now I'm talking to my liberal friends and the liberal people out there that if you're going to condemn Donald Trump for saying horrible things, you need to condemn Pete Davidson for saying horrible things. Okay? Because he's no better than Donald Trump. In this case, if he continues to say stuff, then he'll be no better than Donald Trump overall. But I think he's a young guy, and he's what? He's 24, so he made a mistake. Donald Trump is 72, I believe, or maybe even older now, and he continues to do it. So there's a difference there. But hopefully Pete Davidson learns from this and apologizes and doesn't make a stupid mistake like this again, because let's be honest, it was really stupid. So now we're going to go on to the endorsements, and they are, they're pretty cut and dry this year. I've almost never in my life voting. I've probably never voted a straight ticket, but I think this time I'm going to. I think this time I'm going to. The only way I might not is I might vote for one of the judges that are, Republican. But that might be it. But right now, I'm going to give my endorsements, and here they are. And if you like them, you like them. If you don't, oh well. This is my choice, and this is what they are. Obviously, for the U.S. Senate, and Sherrod Brown gets the endorsement of the Sentinel. I mean, it's not even. It's not even a question. Jim Renacci makes the Leaning Tower of Pisa look straight. Jim Renacci is, I think Jimmy DeMora would probably be disgusted by Jim Renacci. That's how dirty Jim Renacci is. He's filthy. Jim Renacci is the dirtiest, biggest liar, a snake in the grass politician. Maybe he's one of the worst from Ohio ever. He's really, really bad. So I think that, he needs to go. I think the good thing is he's going to lose he's already lost his House seat because he's running for Senate. So that's good. And hopefully a Democrat will take his House seat. So that's a good thing. But Jim Renacci is, I'm sorry, but Jim Renacci's filth. Okay? He's filth. He only cares about himself. He is nothing but a businessman who wants to change laws so he makes more money. That's it. Anybody that believes in this guy, plus he has supported Trump 100%. So that right there is a reason to get rid of him. And then we got Ohio Governor Richard Cordray will get my endorsement. So, like DeWine, it's just time for him to go away. He's been a politician in Ohio for 40 years. Isn't it funny, though, that Republicans want to drain the swamp unless it's one of their guys who's been around forever. And then it's okay if he stays. He's okay. He can stay because he's our guy. No, we're not going to drain the swamp of him. He's our guy. He can stay. No, Mike DeWine needs to go, too. He's another one who's been 100% Trump supporter. And his commercials that he's been running the last week or so are such lies, saying that he's for pre-existing conditions. This guy is so against pre-existing conditions. Oh my, it's not even funny. Mike DeWine is lying in his ads so bad. Look at all the times he voted. He voted to get rid of the laws that protect pre-existing conditions. Mike DeWine is a liar. He's ran false ads about, Richard Cordray, the rape kit ad. Richard Cordray had 3 months to go through the rape kits. Okay. Mike DeWine had 8 years. Well, of course he tested more. I would hope he tested more. When he had 8 years and Richard Cordray only had 3 months, they're not going to tell you that in their commercials, though. They're just going to lie. So, and then we've got Attorney General, and I'm going to endorse Steve Dettelbach because I believe Steve Dettelbach is the guy that should be Attorney General. Ohio Fraternal Order of Police has supported him. And if he's good enough for them, he's good enough for me. But the Trump Republicans and the Republicans who love law enforcement, but they're not going to trust law enforcement to say who should be attorney general. So I really think that Steve Dettelbach is the guy in the attorney general race that needs to be supported. Oh, and there's another endorsement, another issue that I want to talk about before we go on with the last four candidate endorsements. I want to talk about issue 1 that changes the laws for first-time offenders and offenders of drug things. I think it's a very good thing. I think we need to vote for issue 1 because it's, why are we sending these people to prison and not giving them any help? How about that? Let's just send them to prison and let them get worse. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I think that issue 1 has to pass. It makes Ohio a better place. Don't believe their fear that they want to put criminals on the streets and stuff like that. They play on your fear. This is a Republican. The people against it are Trump Republicans who are playing on your fears. That's what they do every time. They play on your fears and you fall into it. Don't fall into it. Issue 1 is a good thing. A good thing. Don't let the hateful Trump people and the hateful Republicans convince you to vote against issue 1. Don't. Vote for issue 1. It's a good law. It's going to help people with drug problems. And, that's the bottom line. Aren't we here to help people? Aren't we here to help? Don't we want to help people? Whatever happened to our humanity? We don't want to help people anymore. We don't want to help. We just want to let them wither away. No, that's not true. That's not what we want. We have to be a compassionate society. That's what our country was founded on. And that's what we have to remain. We have to remain, or we have to get that back, because I think we've lost it in the last couple of years. But issue 1 will help bring that back to Ohio. So now back to the endorsements. And we've got Secretary of State. We're gonna endorse Kathleen Boyd. And I think that's a really good endorsement that we. I don't know a lot about Kathleen Boyd. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I do, but I think she'll do a good job from what I do know. I think Frank LaRose is just another hardline Republican who wants to, use the money the wrong way. And I think that we can't have that. It'd probably just be a continuation of good old Josh Mandel. And then we have the Ohio 14th District. Betsy Rader and David Joyce. Well, I think we know where my endorsement's going there. And it's going to go to Betsy Rader. Because just plain Dave is not cutting it. Just plain Dave is a fake. Just plain Dave is nothing like he said he was going to be when he ran for Congress to replace Stephen LaTourette. Oh, I'm going to be just like Steve. Liar. Oh, wow. I mean, he's a liar. He has been nothing like Stephen LaTourette He has been in Trump's corner the entire time. And it's unbelievable that this guy has completely changed his philosophy. And that's why he needs to lose. That's why he needs to lose. Betsy Rader needs to win to show other people, other officials that are up for election, that siding with Trump is not a good thing. That's what it'll show if Dave Joyce gets knocked out, because he totally changed his stance on a lot of things when he somehow decided that he was going to be a puppet for Donald Trump. Just plain Dave is just hateful Dave, if you ask me. Just hateful Dave. Let's repeal health care. Let's take health care away from hundreds of thousands of Ohioans. That's Dave Joyce. That's Dave Joyce. He doesn't care about Ohio. He cares about himself. He cares about himself and the party. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about you. Does not care about you. You can't vote for Dave Joyce. Please, don't vote for Dave Joyce. I'm endorsing Betsy Rader, and I'm hoping that you'll vote for her too, because she deserves your vote. And then State Representative John Rogers, he represents Lake County. I am going to endorse John Rogers. He's from Wickliffe. I believe he lives in Menor now. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. And he's done such good things since he's been our state representative. He's just the kind of guy that we really need. And I hope that he gets reelected. I know he has done a lot for children with diseases, like learning disabilities and things like that. And I think that that's what we need to send politicians to the state capitol to do. We need to send people like John Rogers to the state capitol, Columbus, to care about people, not to care about money and big business and how can they benefit. We need to send people like John Rogers who go to Columbus and achieve the things he said he was going to do. And he has. He has. And he worked with Governor Kasich, okay? So he's a Democrat, but he worked with the other side to get bills passed. That's who John Rogers is. That's who John Rogers is. He's a great guy. I know someone who is very close with him, close friends with him. One of my sister's friends, and I am, I don't really know him. I think I met him once or twice, but I know the work that he's done. Okay, you don't have to meet the person to know they're a good person. If a person does good work and you see proof of that good work, then they're a good person. And that's John Rogers. He's done great work for Ohio, great work for Lake County. And we need to send him back to Columbus tomorrow so he can continue his great work. Hopefully that happens. And I just don't think there's any doubt about it. I think that it has to happen. And if he, gets to serve another term, he'll make us proud here in Lake County because he's a good man. I know the people that support him and that know him, my sister's friend, and I know she wouldn't support a person who was a bad guy. She would only support a person that cared. Therefore, I know he's a good guy. So John Rogers is getting my endorsement in the Lake County Sentinel's endorsement, as he has in the past. And as long as he keeps doing good work, he'll keep getting our endorsement every year. So, and then we got the Lake County Commissioner race. There's only one choice. There's only one choice. And his name is Dan Troy. Dan Troy has served Lake County admirably for his entire career as a county commissioner. He's done a great job, cares about Lake County. Lake County doesn't need a change in government. It really doesn't. We certainly don't want Ron Young. Okay? We certainly don't want Ron Young as our county commissioner. Do we want Ron Young? I've heard his nickname is the Trump of Lake County. Is that what we really want? We want a Donald Trump in Lake County as one of the commissioners? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's bad enough we got him at the national level, Donald Trump. We certainly don't want Donald Trump at the county level, because that hits even closer to home. So let's vote for Dan Troy. I'm going to support Dan Troy. I'm endorsing Dan Troy for Lake County Commissioner. That's who I'm going to vote for tomorrow. So let's hope that he wins. Let's hope he continues the great work that he's done. He's done great work. Dan Troy has done great work. And it would be just another good thing if we could get him, reelected, because he served Lake County well, and I think he deserves another term as our county commissioner. And if you don't think he should get reelected, I don't understand, because Lake County's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's not like we're in bad shape. So let's reelect Dan Troy tomorrow night, and then Lake County can continue to thrive as it has. It's not like Lake County needs a lot of changes. It's not like we're suffering here in Lake County. We're not. We got a self-sufficient bus line. I mean, we got a lot of good things in Lake County. Lake County is a really good place. So it's not like we need complete change in government. That would be crazy. So I really think that, Dan Troy is the guy in Lake County. Let's hope tomorrow goes the way I hope, the way I think a lot of Americans hope. And we'll find out. We'll be on the air tomorrow. We'll be starting our political part right around 7:30. And that's when the polls will close. So hopefully, maybe we'll know some stuff by the time we go off tomorrow. I hope everybody has a good night. See you tomorrow. This is Tim Shirer for the Lake County Sentinel Podcast. Have a good night, everybody.